My name is James Francis Edwards. I go by Stocky these days. I was born on a farm near Nokomis, or Lockwood, Saskatchewan. I stayed on the farm with my family until I was 6 or 7 years old, and we moved from there to Battleford, Saskatchewan. I went to school initially at St. Vital, the Catholic school in town, and then from there I graduated and went to the St. Thomas College, which was also in town. I went to the college mainly because I played hockey and they wanted hockey players. I had a chance to go to Gonzaga University in Spokane, and by that time the war was on, and I was at college, and I decided that I would go to join the Air Force if I could. And I wanted to be a pilot. I had 3 buddies, or 2 particular buddies, that went to the other schools, but we were very good friends. We played hockey and so on together, and we went hunting together, and we all joined the Air Force. And we all wanted to be pilots. You know, things that just dream of. Eh? But it turns out that eventually we all became squadron commanders on Spitfire squadrons. We were called to go to flying school at Edmonton, and I started to fly the Tiger Mole. And the first few trips, of course, I as I said, I had to find out what all the words meant. You know, the stick and the ailerons and it was amazing. Took me a couple of trips to get those straightened out. The flying was easy. I loved it. Eventually we got on my first operation. I was flying number 2 to a sergeant pilot who had some experience, and we were escort to the bombers. We were close escorting, so we had to stay alongside of them. Eventually we turn in over the field, and the bombers, 3 bombers, lead bombers, go up in flames. They're too low over the ack-ack. And I see these little aircraft going up, right up through our formations. And I thought, they must be 109s. And they were so pretty. The next thing I know, we're in the turn. The bombers dropped the bombs, and now they're dipped their noses and they're heading home. I'm trying to stay with my number 1. And up in the middle, just between him and me, a 109 appears, standing on his tail almost, flicks over, and he's right on the tail of my leader. And he's right in front of me. And I don't know how I did all these things, but I pressed the button and knocked pieces off him and everything, and he fell away, see. And I land, and I park way out in the Bundu like I'm supposed to, and I'm walking along with my chute on my back, thinking, what do I do now? And the CO come along in the staff car, which is the only one we ever had, and said, get in, you see. He didn't even say hello or anything. So I got in. I wanted to tell him I got a 109, see, but he doesn't say anything. He doesn't seem too happy because some of the boys haven't come back, see. And finally we get in the tent, and he's listening around there, and he gets a call from the Army, and they say, we've got 2 of your aircraft up here, and we were refueling them. They're out of fuel. One was my leader, see. Oh, everything was great then. He turned around, eventually my CEO turned around and he looked at me and he said, Edwards, what did you do? And I went, hey, I done a 109, sir. And a little squeaky voice. He did. Of course, he didn't believe it anyway. Anyway, by that time, my leader arrived back home with his friend, and they cut out and they come in and they confirm all this. See? And that was my first operational trip. First one, and first 109. and then was called the Hawk of Martuba after that, because the base we were attacking was Martuba, with fighters, fighter base. And I go back up to about 13,000, and I roll over to come out of, and I don't see anybody around at the moment. And then I see the 190s below me going down just like I thought. So I go down after the 190s and right to the deck. And on the deck, I catch up to one and shoot up, he's in flames. And I pull out in a very steep turn, and there's some tanks in the field just below me, and they're firing, and they hit my airplane in the turn, right behind the cockpit, right in the rondelle area. And they go in about this big and come out about this big. And of course I kept in my turn, and there's a smell of cordite and all that stuff. And I'm rocking away, and checking all see if I'm still flying and everything. And the voice, my number 2 says, "Boss, I can see right through your airplane." And I didn't know he was there because I thought all the maneuvers I've been doing, he can't stay with me. He just about jumped out of the cockpit. But it hadn't hit anything. It's no controls. Just went right through. We got word from the group that we're going back to England for D-Day. And the I guess the 5th of June, we were called over to the commander's office, and he was giving a briefing on tomorrow morning, boys, is when we go. And it was a big day, really big day. We weren't prepared to see the number of ships, boats, and aircraft, and gliders that they saw that stretched from coast to coast. And we weren't on the early show, but that had been going on for several hours by this time. You could easily make out what was happening on the beach. And the water was very rough down there. They were putting people off in when it should be shallow and deep, and they're going underwater with the tanks and troops with their gear on. But other than that, there were lots of good things, and the landing was a success. But there were a lot of suffering from it. I was a squadron commander, and our job as Spitfires was to cover the troops landing and the crossing, and make sure the Huns didn't get through. But they didn't, which of course would be a bit of a disappointment, and also lucky. Well, I was always lucky. I very successful in my navigation and my leading, and I would say it was all luck. I was a wing commander for 20 years. During the war, I got my rank back in 1952 when I went overseas, and that was it. Oh, but you had to be careful that the buzz bomb blew up, eh? So you had the best way was a bit from an angle, so that you didn't get all the debris all over you, because they weren't. Once you hit them, they weren't difficult to knock down. But it was a tremendous part of the enemy's weapon system. And they had it worked out that no matter how we bombed them, they were still there, flying. And the thousands and thousands that came over England, you wonder why they ever lost the war. There were many, many people involved in Army, in Navy, in the Air Force. And many, many were doing their job, doing it for their country. And like I told you once before, that to have that Canada badge on your shoulder amongst everyone else meant something. Something you couldn't replace. I felt that I had a guardian angel. I never felt fear in that I was going to be shot down or killed or anything. It didn't seem to matter. It was like getting a scar from playing in sports. It was all part of the deal. I think it would have to be, I don't know how many people felt like that, but there must have been some others. You just couldn't do it all on your own. You had to have help.